Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a comprehensive, authoritative technical guide and decision framework directly from GoodCarpetGuide.Com. It's titled Pet Urine Carpet Padding Damage, Remediation, Subfloor Decay, and Pad Replacement Guide. Look, if you've ever had a pet in the house, you absolutely know the struggle. We're going to break down the exact, fascinating science of subfloor decay and, more importantly, show you how professional restorers permanently solve these massive headaches without, having to tear down your entire house. It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it? You scrub, you shampoo, the room smells great for a week, and then, out of nowhere, that terrible odor just comes right back. I know it's a bit gross to think about, but to actually solve this, we have to completely shift our perspective. We have to stop viewing pet accidents as these superficial, cosmetic little stains and start treating them as what they really are: structural, flooring contaminations. It's a completely different level of problem, and understanding why is an absolute game changer. All right, let's get into Section 1, Anatomy of a Disaster, the layer-by-layer descent. To fix the unseen damage, we first really need to trace the liquid's descent downward. Homeowners basically only ever interact with Step 1, which is the cosmetic face yarn on top. But gravity is relentless. The liquid instantly passes right through the latex carpet backing, which effectively acts like a giant sieve. Then it hits the open-cell rebond polyurethane padding. This pad is literally a giant sponge. A spot the size of a coin on top spreads out 5 to 10 times larger underneath. And finally, that contaminated liquid pulls directly on your structural foundation, the subfloor. Here's where the science gets wild. As the urine dries inside that padding, the metabolic wastes actually crystallize into water-insoluble uric acid salts. And these salts are highly hygroscopic. All that means is they act as natural moisture magnets. So the moment summer humidity hits, these crystals pull water vapor right out of the air, instantly reactivating all those dormant bacteria. Those bacteria then off-gas nasty volatile organic compounds, things like ammonia and methyl mercaptans. And that right there, that is the phantom smell you can never seem to get rid of. So the absolutely crucial point here is the chemical shift. Cat urine actually leaves the body as a pretty mild acid, right around a pH of 5 to 6. But as those bacteria break down the urea, it becomes highly caustic and incredibly alkaline, spiking all the way up to a pH of 10 to 12. Just to put that into perspective for a second, at a pH of 12, it is roughly as caustic as household bleach. It's literally chemically burning the materials it touches. Advanced carpet restoration really hit the nail on the head here, because wood is a cellular material. Engineered woods like plywood and OSB actually drink this highly caustic liquid. It pulls it deep into the core of the panels like thousands of tiny straws. This chemical attack essentially burns the wood, turning it pitch black or dark gray, all while pushing the wood's moisture levels way past the safe 6% to 9% limit. Which, unfortunately, leads us to a ticking clock. If a subfloor stays wet, the mold risk absolutely skyrockets. Within just 3 days, mycelial growth begins. By 28 days, aspergillus spores completely take over. And if you hit 35 days, chaetomonium spores germinate. Chaetomonium is a highly toxic dark mold that thrives on extreme water damage, and finding it is a massive red flag during an inspection. It means the perimeter has been soaking wet for over a month. By this point, that highly alkaline urine has also corroded the iron in your tack strips, meaning those strips are structurally ruined and have to be ripped out and replaced immediately. Moving right along to Section 2, the Surgical Restoration Protocol, Fixing the Unseen Damage. So how in the world do we fix this without completely tearing your house apart? Well, by aligning with the IICRC, which is the International Standard Certification Body for Restoration, we can actually save the subfloor. Step 1 is mandatory UV mapping. Technicians use 365 nanometer blacklights and moisture probes to forensically map the exact spread of the damage. Then they disengage the carpet from the tack strips and pull it back to expose the real truth underneath. Step 3 is vital, surgically cutting out and bagging the contaminated pad. I mean, you can't wash a urine-filled sponge, right? Removing it instantly eliminates 60% to 70% of the odor source right off the bat. Finally, they treat and seal the exposed subfloor. But what about the carpet itself? Standard low-moisture surface cleaning completely fails here. Instead, the carpet backing must be heavily saturated with enzymatic biological digesters. Now, to actually work, these enzymes need to stay wet. So the area has to be covered in clear plastic sheeting for a dwell time of 12 to 24 hours. This traps the moisture and creates a 100% relative humidity microenvironment, giving those enzymes the time they desperately need to break down those stubborn, water-insoluble crystals. Okay, Section 3. sealing the damage forever, entombing the contamination. While the carpet is getting treated, we literally have to entomb the remaining urine salts in the naked subfloor. The goal? Moisture can never get in and odor can never get out. If you try to use standard water-based paint for this, it will fail instantly. The water just rehydrates the salts. You need serious primers. Kiehl's Original is a decent, budget-friendly oil-based option, but it can take up to 3 long weeks to fully cure. The industry standard, however, is Zinsser B-I-N. It's a shellac-based primer that creates an absolute non-porous barrier. And get this, it dries to the touch in just 15 minutes. It's fantastic. Now, if you're applying Zinsser B-I-N on a wood subfloor, there are strict rules to ensure it actually works. You absolutely must apply a minimum of 2 coats. You can't just paint the visible stain either. You have to extend the primer 12 inches beyond the perimeter you originally mapped with your UV light. And crucially, you have to paint the bottom plates of any adjacent wall framing. This is the only way to permanently block that caustic ammonia gas and protect the structural integrity of your home. And just as a quick aside, if your home is on a concrete slab, the protocol completely shifts. You can't just paint it. You need deep penetrating silicate sealers, something like Credo DPS. These actually sink deep into the pores of the slab and crystallize inside the concrete capillaries, permanently trapping the urine salts far beneath the surface. Which brings us to our final parts. Section 4, future-proofing, upgrading to moisture barriers. Okay, so you've cleaned up the disaster. How do you ensure you never, ever have to do this again? Well, it all comes down to the padding. Think about standard open-cell rebond foam. It just lets liquid pass right through to ruin the subfloor. Your odor source is buried deep down, making cleaning nearly impossible. But a moisture barrier pad, it stops the liquid path dead right at the carpet fiber. Your subfloor is totally protected, and your odor source can actually be removed with standard surface cleaning. A premium moisture barrier product, like the Golden Spillguard Ultimate, is basically a 2-part system. About 90% of it is a dense, highly supportive recycled urethane core, clocking in at a minimum 8.5-pound density for serious durability. The remaining 10% is where the magic happens. A heavy-gauge, liquid, impermeable polymer film right on top. So tying it all together, what is the ultimate GoodCarpetGuide.Com framework for a pet household? It's a comprehensive system. You install that moisture barrier padding with the liquid impermeable membrane, and you pair it with a solution-dyed polyester carpet. Because solution-dyed fibers have their color baked right in during production, they are unbelievably stain-resistant. Some even allow for diluted bleach cleaning, which is wild. This combination is officially endorsed by the Carpet and Rug Institute as the gold standard for homes of pets. We've seen exactly how a simple little accident can snowball into a structural nightmare. But by understanding the science of the subfloor and actively upgrading your materials, you can stop the damage before it even starts. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you install new flooring, will you let your floors hide a toxic secret, or will you build a true defense? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.